Welcome, viewer, wherever you are. This is a program that will be coming to you on LTN Sports Plus every Tuesday at a time like this, when we'll be speaking about matters football, matters sports, matters every other sporting event and activity across the country and even outside the country. Always keep tuned here for this wonderful episode that will be coming and gracing you every other Tuesday. And as a matter of fact, we'll be bringing you people with know-how, people who have the experience, people who are engaged in these activities, and we'll be talking to them, discussing matters that affect the sport in one way or the other. Even the government, even the agencies, all of them are not left behind. So always keep tuned here, because we'll be bringing you all this at that particular time. My name is Nick Okelo, and I'll be starting today with a guest who is well known to virtually everybody, especially in the footballing fraternity. Is one person who has served as the CEO, SG of Football Kenya Federation. He's also served as the CEO of Gor Mahia, and he's got vast knowledge about football. Today, we'll be discussing primarily about the disappointment that actually today was realized by CAF inspection team that did not give a very good report to our preparations for CHAN this year. And this is none other than Lord Duda, who everybody else knows so well in the footballing fraternity. And I want to give him just a short time to do some very brief introduction about himself, which really is not even needed. But for people who might be meeting him for the first time, it's important that you get to know him and you interact with him on this very important program on LTN Sports Plus. Karibu sana bwana mkurugenzi. You know, once a CEO, always a CEO, and because you've done this thing over and over again, it's important that we bring you on board. It's important that we talk to you, we hear what you have. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Nick. I am called Lord Duda. I'm part of football family. We played football when we were able to, and we had an opportunity to also do what we were not able to do in the field, and that is exactly trying to ensure that there's some semblance of order with respect to the administration and management of football in the country. We have had an opportunity in the past to try and ensure that the Kenyan football goes to the direction that it is expected to. And we hope that whatever efforts that we have made in the past and probably continue to make will at some point ensure that Kenya also sits well with the other African football giants in terms of the national team as well as the attendant football clubs. It is important to find out that we cannot play football in isolation. And when we say that we cannot play football in isolation, it means that whatever we attempt to do must be guided by the rules and regulations governing, football at large, and in particular rules and regulations that govern African football as prescribed under the auspices of the Confederation of African Football, CAF. It is important also to note that the impending championship for the local-based players, popularly known as CHAN, first and foremost must be realized that is a CAF tournament, right? And CAF only gives an opportunity to its members to host, the tournament, and that must also be done according to the dictates of the regulations and the demands of CAF, both in terms of the preparations, which requires, adequate infrastructure, adequate match venues, which ought to be to the perfection as required by CAF. And that is why periodically CAF has been sending their inspectors to ensure that all that pertains to the arrangement uh, with respect to the standards they expect, is achieved. Uh, I think, therefore, that it is not good news, more so at the tail end of the preparations, that the latest inspection has not given us a good bill of health, with respect to the playing surfaces of our two destined match venues, that is the Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani, as well as the Nyayo National Stadium, uh, coupled by the fact that even our training grounds have not been cleared with respect to the expected standards, of the playing surfaces. We are at the end of May. I would not be surprised that if you are not very careful, uh, the opportunity to host CHAN might as well slip away. Uh, and that does not mean that CHAN will not be held. It simply means that CAF will definitely try to get an alternative venues for the countries that had already been pulled to play in Kenya. What I don't understand is what has not been happening. Because I believe that CAF usually gives out specifications with regards to the different amenities and like the playing surfaces, the media tribune, the changing rooms, the medical rooms, besides the other attendant, requirements. Uh, but what is not adding up is at the tail end of all this, we do realize that we might not have been doing the correct thing, right? So it would not have come out as a worry to some of us if maybe the inspection team just flagged one out of the many fields that have been under renovations and refurbishments. But flagging the entire playing infrastructure is a bit of a worry. I would therefore take the opportunity to request the local organizing committee under the chairmanship of the veteran administrator, Mr. Nicholas Musonye, to work in tandem with the member association, which is Football Kenya Federation. I think the president of FKF is also part of the LOC. We also have the management, the administrators of the facilities which are under Sports Kenya. That is the Director General, the Acting Director General, Mr. Komora, and people like Nyaoke, the stadium manager at Nyayo, as well as the technocrats who are at the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. We can concentrate on ensuring that the rest of the other facilities are top-notch. But if we do not get it right with the playing surface, then I think it is not going to be possible, for CAF to give us the final go-ahead to have the CHAN being hosted in Kenya. I looked at a situation where CAF decided to give the hosting rights or the bids to 3 countries instead of 1, as usually is the case. Probably somebody somewhere sat and said, wait a minute, let us not put all our eggs in one basket. We have had opportunity twice in this country. First in 1996, when Kenya was supposed to have hosted AFCON, but because of government bureaucracy, and I am reliably told from some quarters that there were disparities in the manner in which the government was relating to the opposition then. And we should not forget that at that particular time, the chairman of the member association representing Kenya Football Federation at that particular time, the late Job Omino, was more or less an opposition figure. So politics being what it is, we are made to believe that somebody somewhere thought that ensuring AFCON took place in Kenya was going to give political mileage to some people. Years down the line, we were also given an opportunity to host Chan. I think that must have been somewhere around 2018, which again we failed to at the last minute because our facilities were not up to speed, and it forced CAF to relocate the hosting rights to, I think, Morocco. Yeah, and that could have formed the possibility of not giving one country the rights, and instead spread it across board in the three East African countries. Now, it is equally telling. For instance, yesterday we saw the CAF Confederations Cup final match between Berkane, the eventual winners, against Simba, being played at Aman Stadium in Zanzibar. Of course, CC is part of the brand tournaments of CAF. So if Aman Stadium could be in a position to be accredited by CAF to host a final match, then we should not be sitting pretty in Kenya, right? Because there could be possibility that if we are not going to be in a position to ensure that our playing surfaces are as per the technical specifications laid down by CAF, then we stare at the possibility that the other countries would be the eventual beneficiaries in terms of the hosting rights.
Now, looking at the entire thing, this process of preparation has been so long and winding. Remember, this channel was meant to be played sometimes early this year, at around February. Again, it was pushed because of lack of preparation. So, another 6 months was added on to ensure that everything was put into place. And that by the time the inspection was supposed to be happening, like now it's happening right now, you should have gotten at least 80% preparation right and on course by doing the right things. Just what could be the problem at this particular stage? Because I know the government is giving out resources to do this. The government has committed even money at CAF, showing all the intentions to want to have this tournament around here. But then here now, at the implementation stage of these preparations, we now have this huge disappointment and the possibility of even not hosting Chan at all once again. What might have been happening in the background? Or did somebody go and order the wrong things? Did somebody go and bring the wrong grass? Because we are told even the practice, I mean the pitches that are used for exercises and trainings are as well dismissed. So we have to begin a whole fresh phase of putting in place all this. Now, is it even permissible in time to have the right grass, plant it, prepare it, and make it ready for the tournament for all the stadia that we have in the country? Those who that we are marked for this particular tournament. Just take us up to speed. What would be the intrigues? And is there any small window or chance that we can still have this and host it in the country?
Well, I believe that somebody some people ought to take responsibility. Um, my conviction with the statement I have just made is based on the fact that CAF usually have experts in the various dockets. We have, for instance, experts that whose responsibility is to ensure that the playing surfaces are to the correct dimensions. The playing surfaces, the grass is the correct type of grass. Yeah, the thickness is the dimensions of the thickness of the grass. Ensure that the pruning of the grass, which is not required to be on the surfaces, are done. And all these, I believe, are given out in good time to whoever is responsible for the construction or the refurbishment or the maintenance of these particular pitches. Now, in this particular case, we have our two stadiums being the properties of Sports Kenya. And I believe that Sports Kenya also have, officers whose designation is, technically oriented. Now, and it is not the first time that the inspectors have been here. So that is why I'm saying somebody or a group of people ought to take responsibility and explain to the Kenyans what has not been happening. Have they not been adhering to, the pieces of advice? Did they not follow the technical specifications? Did they not get the correct type of grass? What is not happening? Did they not lay down the correct drainage facilities? So we need much more than just being told that the CAF inspectors have flagged our pitches. We also have, for instance, police, circle grounds. Their management there ought to have been engaged and given the specifics in terms of the technical requirements, and so is the Ulinzi complex.
Yeah.
But we also have the training pitch at Moi Sports Center, Kasarani, which means that there must be somebody who was given the responsibility to be the overall in charge to ensure that all these playing surfaces are developed to the specifications within a given period of time. Now, I am not so sure what would be possible given that we are already remaining with 60 days.
Yeah. Literally 60 days.
60 days, so to speak. Now, I'm not so sure whether the type of grass that ought to be, planted on the playing surfaces would be mature enough, to be ready within the next 2 months.
60 days,
60
so to
days,
speak.
yes. If it has not been, they have not gotten it right for the past 6 months or so. Yeah?
Over 1.5 years.
Yes, and it is not the first time. I remember during my stint as the CEO of Gor Mahia, we were meant to play, I think, Usendei or Usma, one of the two teams from North Africa, and there was a new, face of grass that had to be planted at Kasarani. The patches had to be done within 30 days. But the resultant was horrible because when there was a downpour, that pitch became completely unplayable. I would not expect to see the kind of scenario, yeah, should we be now forced to get to that. I'm not so sure whether we have that type of grass within the country. I've also had an opportunity to work quite closely with the technical department, the technical crew brought down by SportPesa sometime in 2018 when we had won the East Africa Super Cup. And that gave us an opportunity to go and play against Everton at the famous Benjamin Mkapa Stadium in Dar. I remember that grass had to be imported from somewhere in the UK, and it costed SportPesa whooping 40 million shillings equivalent.
40 million in 2018.
In 2018.
So as of now, it could be double that.
That is probably.
That's for one stadium.
That was just for Benjamin Mkapa.
Benjamin Mkapa.
And that, because there was no way we were going to play a team of the magnitude of, Everton at such a scrappy surface, which then existed.
So just take that scenario, put it to the Kenya situation right now. We've got to get the grass within the shortest time period possible. We have more than two grounds, two stadiums. I mean, there's Nyayo and there's Kasarani that need some specific grass to be brought in time. And then now we have the training venues of the training facilities that are about, again, three. We had Ulinzi, we had Kasarani, and we had the police circle training ground. All these have also been dismissed as well. So you can imagine the amount of grass and preparation needed in the next 60 days. Is it even practical?
It depends. Like I've said, it depends on the type of grass and the technical specifications of laying that grass. And more so, its availability, because we are talking about not just one playing surface. Yeah, we are talking about more or less multiple, 5 or even 6, so to speak. So it's unfortunate, but it is also a wake-up call, particularly to the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, to be precise, the Department of Sports, to ensure that we just don't construct stadiums. We need to construct these stadiums to the specific international specifications, as approved by FIFA and CAF. Because what is the point of having stadiums lingering around the country now, but which are not,
can't host any meaningful matches?
Many international matches. So I would throw the challenge to the government through the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Department of Sports, and to Sports Kenya in particular, because they are the custodians of these facilities. We do not need to gobble taxpayers' money year in, year out in the name and guise of refurbishments. We have had Nyayo Stadium closed for aeon, moments in the past. It is ridiculous that at the moment stones are still, being knocked down in terms of refurbishments. I mean, really, why can't we get it right once and for all? Because the money spent, on those stones that are being pulled down, this money gone to waste. You see? So it is important, unless they are what Kenyans now call muradi for other people, we need to get these things right from the word go.
Just before we conclude this very good discussion about if we are losing the hosting rights, you've been a CEO of the Federation. You have vast knowledge in terms of football administration. What would be your advice right now to salvage this situation? Because as Kenyans would love to be hosts of this very important football extravaganza. It's an important thing. This is the third time that we'll be embarrassing ourselves as a country if we let this one slip off our hands. Something has to be done. From your experience, your capacity, your know-how, what can Kenyans do in this preceding moment so that we can have this thing or this tournament hosted in this country?
Well, it could be unfortunate if it will eventually slip away from our hands again for the third time.
It seems it will be slipping from what I'm seeing now and the time frames you've just mentioned. It could be slipping away.
Uh, Having said that, I think it is also a matter of doing the correct thing, giving the correct people, the people who have the technical know-how, the people who know what it means to, lose or to host such tournament, and it will be unfortunate if at the end of the day we will not be in a position, yeah, to have surfaces that are cleared, just because probably we over concentrated on other amenities and forgot about the playing surface. You know, two, it is also a time for Kenyan the Kenyan government to ensure that we have our facilities, yeah, however small, however capacity they could be, but constructed or built to the expected international standards, so that we avoid such kind of an embarrassment at the last minute, you know.
Well, I'm told we just have about 3 minutes to go. But now, speaking again to Sports Kenya, the stakeholders were in this, led by Nicholas Musonye, the chair of the local organizing committee. Do you think that these people are up to this task, really? Considering that we've been given time again and again and again to get this thing right, the same guys have been at the helm of it, but still, we are falling short of this.
Well, give it to Nicholas. He's been at the helm of CAF for over 2 decades. I believe he is up to task. I believe that members of the local organizing committee are equally men and women of repute. But it is also, the grapevine has it that there has never been a good working relationship between the local organizing committee and the leadership of the local federation. It is rumored that members of the local federation have not been attending these LOC meetings. I mean, if that indeed is true, then I would hold Hussein and his brigade also responsible, because to be honest, the entire group are new. They've never had an opportunity to be at the helm of football at this particular, at this level. Now, it would be foolhardy for them also to try and imagine that they know what they really don't know, So it would be a big mistake if indeed it's true that they've been snubbing these meetings with the LOC. Hosting of the tournament is a collective responsibility. Yeah, CAF has given the LOC the mandate to oversee all the preparations, and the local federation, being the member association of CAF, ought to really work in tandem with the LOC so that we can have some of these things put in their perspective in order to avoid such kind of embarrassments. Because if there was that kind of cordial working relationship or an understanding, then somebody ought to have known, yeah, that we were not doing the correct thing with regards to the playing surfaces. I would close my eyes and say, well, we got this one wrong if it was only one venue. But if the entire, two stadiums with the attendant training surfaces, training venues
And not
have been
ready.
not ready, then
Then
people need to take responsibility. The
that's
government has already paid a whooping almost 1.6 billion for the
for the hosting,
fees,
yeah.
the hosting
The
rights.
hosting rights,
So
yeah.
we cannot afford to have such kind of amount of money going to waste because of the laxity of a few individuals.
Now, as you answer whether they can return that money from CAF, if CAF returns such money to the local federation or the local governments that are supposed to host, if at all the hosting is not undertaken, you will answer that as we conclude. Again, imagine 60 days to the tournament, marketing of this tournament locally has not even begun. We're not seeing the marketing team down on the ground. We can't see billboards. We're not seeing any literature. We're not seeing any campaigns to sensitize Kenyans about the coming of Chan. Again, this again marks another point, another low moment, because a tournament of this magnitude, as at now, should have been getting enough airplay and enough should I say, exposure from the LOC. At this stage, we are supposed to be doing a serious marketing for the tournament. Let Kenyans know there's a tournament. Let people who want to do business with the tournament start preparing. 60 days to this, nothing has happened. What would you say, given that? Just answer the two questions as we wind up, because time is not on our side. Can the money, 1.6 billion, be returned to Kenyans, if at all, we'll end up not hosting this from CAF? And again, up to this moment, key components of this tournament hosting rights have not been undertaken. Things like marketing, PR, and all this mobilization of the masses. Just in 1 minute, how would you wrap it up?
Well, I'm not so sure about the bureaucracy for returning the money, but let's not also forget that Chan was a precursor to AFCON. We were given the opportunity so that we could be CAF and the entire continent could see our preparedness in terms of the much bigger AFCON, which is slated for 2027. I am aware that we, as a country, have not paid CAF the rights, the fee for the rights to host AFCON. So in an event, I presuppose, in an event that we will not be able to host Chan, then probably that amount of money can be pushed towards AFCON. Two, uh, I, I, I read somewhere that the chairman of the committee, the parliamentary committee of sports and entertainment, Honorable Dan Wanyama, is complaining that in the 2025-2026 budget, certain amounts of money have not been factored. Probably 100 million towards the Chan preparations, and the 1.6 billion which is meant for the hosting rights, the fee for the hosting rights for AFCON. Now, if that is true, then probably we are hampered, or the people at the LOC are equally hampered because of lack of funds. That might lead to the lethargy that we are now witnessing as we progress towards the Chan dates.
Thank you very much, CEO Lord Vicar Duda, for your time. Indeed, it's been very exciting to understand a few things and to know how things work sometimes at this very level of football. But then, one question or questions that linger is the LOC being underfunded? Is somebody sabotaging this exercise? Or are people just being too lazy on the work? Or is it a ploy just to derail a very otherwise good thing that should have put us in a very nice pedestal to host even the AFCON? Now, these questions must be answered now rather than later. And again, by any means, can we have Chan being played and we play host to that tournament, because we've had quite a long time to prepare. And because of that, Mr. Nicholas Musonye, with all due respect, you have a reputation to keep here as well. Our government, you have to come out and do something about this. Other stakeholders involved, including the federation, come out and play your part. Please don't stay aloof on this, because it's so critical for us sports lovers in this country. Thank you very much, CEO, for having coded time to be on LTN Sports Plus. I know we'll be meeting with you again and again and again on a number of things because of your vast experience and knowledge in football and sports. We'll be having you on board like every other time for what we call expert input in the matters that we'll be raising up from time to time. To you, the viewer, wherever you are, we say thank you for this moment. It's been me hosting you in this show. My name is Nick Okello. Till we meet again next week, and again, just same place. Don't ever go away, because this is the place where we call your sports arena, and it is LTN Sports Plus. Thank you very much.